Assalamualaikum. Today we're here at Roche, Pakistan, one of the world's leading biotech companies. This month we've been exploring a lot about leadership roles, especially about women in Pakistan and the challenges that they face. They face imposter syndrome, biases, and of course work-life balance issues. So finding role models who have successfully navigated this area is indeed very inspiring. And we're very delighted to be here today with Hafsa Shamsie, who is the Managing Director for Roche, Pakistan. So Hafsa.
Hi, Farha.
Hi, great to have you on our Leaders series.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, it's wonderful. And please tell me first, let's get straight into it. What does leadership mean to you?
Okay, that's an interesting question, and I'll address it really by giving a gender neutral answer, right? Because this is not specifically for women at all. I always give this example of an elevator, right? Whenever जब आप एलिवेटर या लिफ्ट के लिए वेट करते हैं और आप बटन प्रेस करते हैं एंड इमेजिन के दरवाज़ा खुले एंड अंदर इट्स फुल ऑफ पीपल, राइट? उस टाइम पर यू हैव वन चॉइस, ईदर टू गेट इन और नॉट, राइट? नाउ सपोज दैट अगर आप एलिवेटर अंदर चले जाते हैं तो जस्ट नोटिस, आई एम श्योर आप लोगों को पता होगा कि होता क्या है वो एलिवेटर में जब आप अंदर चल जाते हैं. Nobody really moves कि एक पोजीशन से दूसरे पोजीशन कोई हटता नहीं है. लेकिन if you notice everybody shuffles just a little bit and आप accommodate हो जाते हैं. To me that's pretty much what leadership is about. What does it show? Firstly, जब एलिवेटर खुल रही है और आप देख रहे हैं कि भरी हुई है लोगों से, तो it requires bravery to walk in, right? That day, because it will be uncomfortable. लोग भरे हुए हैं in the elevator, maybe ज़्यादा men हो, maybe body odor हो, so it's asking you to be brave to step in, and it is asking you to get out of your comfort zone. जब आप अंदर आ जाते हैं तो everybody adjusts and shuffles just a little bit, which is pretty much like how life is. So my concept of leadership is be brave enough to get into the elevator, challenge your comfort zone by going in there and seeing, being with different people, and you'll be surprised. People will adjust themselves for you and you will reach your destination.
That's a great example, Hafsa. अच्छा, मुझे बताएं कि a lot of insights and findings have come कि women generally leadership roles में बहुत कम नज़र आती हैं, and पाकिस्तान में especially gender gap काफ़ी ज़्यादा है. तो आपके ख्याल से इसकी वजह क्या है?
देखो, I've been working पाकिस्तान में कोई तकरीबन 30 साल हो गए हैं अब इसी environment में वर्क करना. मैंने over the years देखा है कि it's improved a lot. ठीक है, 30 साल पहले तो हार्डली, मुझे बहुत आदत है being the only woman in the room, but अब it's improved. But like you say कि वो उस लेवल पर नहीं आया है जिस लेवल पर होना चाहिए. मेरा व्यू ऑन वाई दिस इज रियली टू वे. फर्स्टली ये है कि देखिए, समटाइम्स इट्स ओके women choose or prefer to do other things. For example, अगर एक 32-year-old औरत है, maybe she makes that choice more than a man to look after the children. So थोड़ा part I would say is because the women want it that way, and that's fine. The other part is that, at the workplace, we don't encourage women so much, and that I really talk about men because mainly men hai, right? I always I believe in something which is equality of opportunity rather than equality of outcome. Outcome ये है, चाहिए हमें कि 50% top leaders women हो, but क्या हर एक को opportunity हम दे रहे हैं in the workplace? तो I think वो दोनों, it requires from both angles. It requires women to be brave, to come into the workforce, to juggle a bit, ठीक है, एंड इट रिक्वायर्स women के वो आएँ और वो अपॉर्चुनिटी को लें. जब दफ्तर में आएँ तो वो वुमेन कार्ड ना प्ले करें, मीनिंग टू से जब आप एक बार आ गए, आप काम करें, मेहनत करें और बी एट पार विद ऑल द मेन एंड द वुमेन. ये नहीं कि आप कह रहे हैं कि मुझे प्रेफरेंशियल ट्रीटमेंट चाहिए अदर देन सेफ्टी प्रेफरेंस, राइट? या आप कह रहे हैं कि आप दफ्तर में रोना ना शुरू कर दें. सो थिंग्स लाइक दैट. अगर आप नॉर्मल काम करें एज अ वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट वुमन, और साथ साथ जो भी ऑफिस में लोग हैं मेन प्राइमरीली वो आपको अपॉर्चुनिटीज देते रहें तो आई थिंक वील सी मोर एज वी गो फॉरवर्ड.
Very true. So, Hafsa, how do you think societal attitudes have changed towards leadership roles?
Society, I see now a lot of, in fact, I see a lot of preferential treatment of women. अब काफ़ी conscious हो गए हैं लोग corporate पाकिस्तान में. People have realized the importance of diversity. कि यार एक औरत आती है तो एक dynamics office के change हो जाते हैं, ज़्यादा respectful culture हो जाता है, एक new way of thinking आ जाती है. So वो importance मुझे अब feel हो रहा है कि हर type of organization में आना शुरू हो गई है. As a result of that, what I can see is a lot more respect towards women's needs. I think safety of women in an environment like Pakistan is given a lot more importance. Plus, I feel that unka voice is getting more heard at corporate conference tables.
So, Hafsa, tell me, how can women leaders best advocate for themselves and for other women in their organizations? You're in a prime position right now. Could you tell us from a safety perspective and, of course, from the harassment laws that are prevalent in companies to deal with any such issues that may arise?
That's a really important question, Farhad, because while I talk about the fact that yes, women are getting more heard at the table, etc., while I talk about the good things, there is also this big other element, right? That I think women firstly can help themselves and then how the environment. Because corporate Pakistan mein, yes, it's improved, but still so many laws and regulations nahi hai to protect the woman. So primarily, pehle I'll discuss that aap khud kya kar sakte ho to make sure that, your professional life is safe and sound. I think body language is a huge thing. It's something that, I have taught myself and I also teach my daughter and really all women. Body language is the way that you can control everybody else in the around you. Right, that's the one thing you have. Your body language must come across as confident, as firm, as some. ये नहीं कि कोई damsel in distress. Right, so I think that is the first tool औरतों के पास है to control the environment. Now क्या होता है that अगर आप which in normal terms जो हमारे घरेलू terms में it can be लड़का बन रही है, right? And हम आते हैं उस concept से कि लड़का नहीं बनना, लेकिन it's not लड़का बनना, is because हमारे culture में अगर confident औरत हो तो आप कहते हैं वो बड़ी bossy है. So those are terms that we use and I'm not too sure, right? I read this book by Sheryl Sandberg called Lean In. She's the chief operating officer for Facebook and she had a segment on this. She said I was considered bossy. So मैं ये पाकिस्तान के लिए नहीं कहूँगी, मैं gender के बारे में कहूँगी worldwide, right? My advice to all young women would be that अगर आपकी body language सही जा रही है and अगर आप feel कर रहे हैं there's some subtle harassment, I think this is where the role of other women come in. पहले आप जाके ज़रा सा senior औरतों को solicit them. Am I feeling this is correct? क्या ये मेरा एक gut सही कह रहा है? 99% वो gut सही कहता है. लेकिन जाके other women. So I think it's really important कि women help other women at the workplace, right? And then of course there are things. Go to HR, go to your line manager. Those are really important things. हम औरतों को हमें सिखाया हुआ है बचपन से कि अगर कोई भी problem हो रहा है तो bear कर लो. कुछ नहीं होता, बर्दाश्त कर लो, right? तो I think that is not right. जिस दिन आप बर्दाश्त करोगे आपने अपनी boundary change कर दी.
This is a very important point and I think normally एक self doubt भी होता है कि did I really feel that ये हुआ था नहीं हुआ था, but as you're saying trust your gut and discuss it first. So I think this brings up the next question, which is what are the common misconceptions women in leadership roles face or those who are trying to attain that?
Misconception is firstly कि बहुत ज़्यादा bossy है, or she wants it her way. द अदर मिसकंसेप्शन जो कि मेरे लिए नहीं बट हो सकता है ऑफ विमेन इज ओ भाई डैमजल इन डिस्ट्रेस है, रोना शुरू कर देगी भाई, यू नो ज़्यादा उसका हल्का हाथ रखो बिकॉज सो टू मी आई थिंक ये मिसकंसेप्शंस हैं और रहेंगे और पर्सनालिटी वाइज रहते हैं, राइट, औरतों के साथ ज़्यादा. बट जब मैं इस बात पे सोचती हूँ तो लॉट्स ऑफ मेन के बारे में भी मेरे बड़े मिसकंसेप्शन है. ठीक है, मैं कभी मेन को देखती हूँ, मैं कहती हूँ यार ये बड़ा बॉसी है, यार ये ऐसे क्यों है. सो बट ठीक है, विमेन के मिसकंसेप्शंस होते हैं. आई थिंक माई अर्लियर आंसर ऑन हाउ यू कैन मॉडरेट इट इज समवेयर इन द मिडल आकर आपको बैठना है. Right, of course career जब शुरू होता है तो I was very bossy. Now I have to unlearn and relearn how to be a very empowering manager.
You're heading a pharmaceutical company and you have a lot of people under you, and how would you push women to, you know, or support women in coming and going ahead in their careers to achieve leadership roles?
So one of the thing I do very consciously is affirmative action. Right, affirmative action and employment. For example, agar if I find merit comes first, right? So if I see two people who are equally good at their work, जब interview panels आते हैं और आप interview करते हैं तो normally it's down to 2 or 3 people. If I see 2 people who are equally at this right place, same place on the merit curve, then I would tend to choose the woman. So I think if more and more corporates and do that, I think that will really help women. I don't think we should select women who are not at the same merit level. ठीक है, because वो तो that is reverse discrimination and that's not good, right? So अगर दोनों same हैं तो then preferential treatment should be given to a woman simply ताकि एक opportunity create हो.
So how can we ensure that gender equity is prioritized at all levels, from salaries to hiring and promotions?
So for hiring, I think I would say the same thing, that you know, if 2 people are equally meritorious, let's take the woman, just simply to encourage and to make your own workplace more diverse and more richer, right? For promotions and elsewise, I would say I would not make a difference. Okay. Because देखो, once you've come in the workforce, then the gender part, and you can conduct yourself well, and you have good support systems like HR and a network of other leaders who support women. I would say that, you know, then thereafter promotions should be merit based only.
What role can men play in promoting gender equity in the workplace?
The other day somebody asked me a very interesting question. ऐसे ही कोई talk पे था, उन्होंने कहा मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ for my wife, वो तो जो है ना हाउस वाइफ हैं, क्या करूँ मैं. मैंने कहा आप सिंपली एक काम करें, इक्वालिटी ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी. अगर आपकी वाइफ आपको ये भी कह रही हैं कि मुझे जो है ना केटरिंग करनी है घर से, इंस्टेड ऑफ सेइंग कि क्या आप सिर्फ 5,000 रुपये कमाओगी या 10,000, क्या फ़र्क पड़ेगा, गिव हर दैट अपॉर्चुनिटी. बिकॉज आज वो अगर 5,000 पे शुरू करी, इट्स नॉट अबाउट द मनी. वहाँ से आप क्रिएट करोगे अ कॉन्फिडेंट वाइफ, अ कॉन्फिडेंट मदर, और वहाँ से आएंगे कॉन्फिडेंट चिल्ड्रन.
Hafsa, you know, your husband is a CEO also of a leading bank in Pakistan. So it's a very unique situation, and you're both a power couple in that way. How do you manage this work-life balance with 2 wonderful children that you raise so well as well? What is your secret formula to this?
Allah ke karam ke baad, I don't know. So yeah, thanks. We don't consider ourselves a power couple, but yes, my husband is CEO of a bank and it's pretty 5,000 employees, so scale काफ़ी बड़ा है. I only say that because जब आप 5,000 एम्प्लॉयज़ को देख रहे हैं तो आपके घर के लिए टाइम इज़ रिलेटिवली लिमिटेड. ऑन द अदर हैंड, आई हैव 2 चिल्ड्रन. माई सन इज़ 21 माशाल्लाह से, स्टडीइंग एरोस्पेस इंजीनियरिंग, एंड माई डॉटर इज़ इन A-levels. सो येस, लेट मी टेल यू, इट्स अ फुल लाइफ. ठीक है, बट थोड़े से मेरे पास टिप्स हैं. एंड ऑल्सो लेट मी स्टार्ट बाय सेइंग आई एम नॉट परफेक्ट, आवर लाइफ इज़ नॉट परफेक्ट. मैं हर एक को हंसाती हूँ ये कह के, माई किड्स आर एज बैड एज एवरीबडी एल्सेस. ठीक है, पहला टिप यही है कि डोंट एम फॉर परफेक्शन. इट्स एन अननेसेसरी थिंग जो आपको सिर्फ उलझा जाता है, बिकॉज परफेक्ट तो कुछ चीज़ नहीं है दुनिया में सिवाय खुदा के. सेकेंड एडवाइस वुड बी दैट ऑनेस्टली इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ों के लिए आपको साथ होना है. मुझे ऐसे फील होता है जब मैं लोगों को देखती हूँ या औरतों को स्पेशली, वो दे गेट लॉस्ट इन द डिटेल। मेरे बच्चे का बर्थडे पार्टी है, हर बर्थडे पार्टी पे मुझे साथ जाना है, या मुझे उसके साथ बैठकर हर दिन होमवर्क करना है, राइट? Don't get stuck in the detail. Do the important things. 30 years से मैं काम कर रही हूँ, and I can say, and my kids will agree, much as they don't want to, कि I have never missed a parent-teacher meeting ever, me or my husband. लेकिन कभी हम दोनों एक साथ नहीं जाते, या मैं जाऊँगी या वो जाएंगे नीचे. I have never missed a birthday while we are traveling, me or my husband. We always have Sunday together, so we go to the beach or something. Till now, अब बच्चे are not interested in hanging with us. So kind of like the important things पे आप रहो साथ. बड़ी चीज़ों के लिए please be there for your children, and especially between the age of 7 and 14. Okay. So those husband and wife can coordinate.
I was actually going to ask you about well-being. Like, women tend to do a lot of things and they forget about themselves. So well-being is very important, so what is your how do you sort of unwind and keep yourself
it's
going?
Super important, Farhat, and यहाँ पर हम लोग once again culturally हम bring up हुए हैं कि औरतें are the women caregivers, right? So हम अपने आप को last देखते हैं, last care for करते हैं. अगर आप even if you see on the plane, वो कहते हैं पहले put your mask on first before you put the child's. Natural nature is, वो क्या मतलब मैं अपने बच्चे का नहीं ख्याल रख रही, but अगर आप अपने आप का ख्याल नहीं रखोगे तो what if the बच्चा can't put on his mask correctly, right? And you're not there, right? So to me, you have to look after yourself. How do I do it? I'm like I said कि हम as a family हम बहुत active हैं. So Saturday, Sunday we'll normally go to the beach, do stuff when they were growing up. For myself, so and that's also downtime for me as a family. But for myself, हर दिन 1 घंटा हमेशा gym. लोग कहते हैं हफ्सा पतली नहीं हो रही, मैं कहती हूँ exactly उनको क्या पता, I'm just going for my mental health. And then I read a lot and I love chit-chatting and hanging with the friends. So kind of always making sure कि अपने आप का ख्याल रखें, even if it is for half an hour day or 1 hour.
Yeah. So do you think that leadership is a mindset, and are there any skills that can be acquired to sort of achieve better skills at it?
Leadership is definitely a mindset, but to me, it is more of a growth mindset. You can be a street cart vendor. अगर आपका growth mindset है तो आप हमेशा ये सोच रहे होगे how can I make it better? How can I scale up?
Okay. And can people be taught these skills?
You can definitely hone it. राइट मैंने भी अपने आप पे बहुत काम किया है ओवर द लास्ट 30 years, मे बी 20 years, जब आप रियलाइज़ करते हो कि क्या है. सो डेफिनेटली आप उसको इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं, आप दूसरों को देखकर सीख सकते हैं. वन ऑफ द थिंग्स आई हैव फाउंड वेरी यूजफुल इज़ रीडिंग, राइट, सेल्फ डेवलपमेंट. अब आजकल तो रीड करने की भी ज़रूरत नहीं है, पॉडकास्ट एंड छोटे टिकटॉक पे भी इतने इंस्पिरेशनल मोटिवेशनल वीडियोज़ आते हैं. सो आई थिंक दैट्स रियली इम्पॉर्टेंट कि आप अपने आप को पहले रियलाइज़ करें, राइट, कि आप में खामी या कमी क्या है. सेल्फ एक्चुअलाइजेशन बहुत ज़रूरी है कि अच्छा यार मैं क्या लोग बॉसी कह रहे हैं तो क्या मैं बहुत बॉसी लग रही हूँ, क्या मैं कम अक्रॉस कर रही हूँ एज टू अग्रेसिव. फिर आप जब एक बार रियलाइज़ करते हो कि हाँ ज़्यादा ही अग्रेसिव आ रहा है फॉर एग्जांपल, या जो भी आप समझते हो आप में नीड है, उस पर फिर आप ज़रा सा सुनकर लोगों से सीख कर लर्न करके अगर उस पर काम करें ना तो आई थिंक कि बहुत इम्प्रूव हो सकता है. मैंने खुद किया है अपने आप के लिए, सो मैं एक्सपीरियंस से कह रही हूँ.
So how can we ensure that women's voices are heard and valued in all decision-making processes in organizations?
You see, at junior levels, फिर भी औरतें हैं in the workplace, right? It is more. I think this would be more at senior levels because that's, and I really like this new क्या अब तो 4-5 साल हो गए of rule of having one woman at least on the board represented on the board, right? That's really important because decision making is really coming from the board level a lot of times.
Yes.
And वहाँ पर women का inclusion करने से I think that's a good point to get their opinion or viewpoint in. So I think that's one thing. If I come down one level lower to leadership teams, not the board, but leadership teams, I think it's the same thing, you know, must have some constitution of women. Ideally, I think it should be 50-50. Right, but at least 30%, 20% women अगर हों तो automatically ना वो decision making की tone और flavor change होता रहेगा.
So we live today in a very rapidly changing world. How does that impact people around, and what role can a leader play in that?
Yeah, the whole world has changed. Even अगर आप देखो, corporate trend is now towards startups, and you know, it's constantly changing. Whether you're a woman or a man, as a leader, you have to keep embracing that change.
Yes.
You cannot become irrelevant. To stay relevant, you have to embrace change. And how do you embrace change? You definitely bring younger men and women into your teams. Very important. ठीक है, you mix it up by having different backgrounds. I don't think कि हमें restricted रहना चाहिए कि अगर pharma company है तो हमारे पास सिर्फ medical लोग ही आएंगे. तो diversity is gender is one, but diversity of thought comes अगर आप different type of लोगों को mix में डालें. Right? And आजकल it helps because आजकल के बच्चे are different. They want to try different things. Right? They don't want के हमारी तरह के अगर डॉक्टर बने तो डॉक्टर ही रहे. So I think that's important. And third thing that's super important is कि आपको रियलाइज़ करना है कि अब जो दफ्तर में आ रहे हैं वो मिलेनियल्स हैं. उनके डिमांड्स डिफरेंट हैं, उन्होंने एक डिफरेंट लाइफस्टाइल देखी, उन्होंने हमारी जैसी मुश्किल लाइफ, ईजियर लाइफ देखी है. तो यू हैव टू बी कॉग्निजेंट ऑफ दैट. तो यू नो वो बात कि हम 4 साल के बाद प्रमोट होते थे, हम खुश थे, मिलेनियल को 2 साल में चाहिए. तो आपके कॉर्पोरेट पॉलिसी शुड ऑल्सो इवॉल्व टू अकोमोडेट नाउ द मिलेनियल्स, लेटर ऑन जेन जी.
I think one of the things that COVID has taught us is adaptability is key.
Exactly.
I mean, the whole world changed.
Bilkul.
And we had to change. And I think
and nobody gave us warning.
Yeah, nobody gave us warning. It was
overnight.
like an overnight change. And I think that is something that we should not forget and always keep in the forefront. So thank you so much, Hafsa, for being part of our Leaders series. It's been really insightful, and especially I think you're an amazing role model for a lot of other women, especially the way you've talked about your work-life balance, your focus on well-being, and how you've addressed a lot of misconceptions that have come your way. So I'm sure our audience is going to be really interested in listening to all the guidance you've provided today.
Thanks a lot, Farhad. Thanks for having me here, and I hope it is useful for somebody on listening.
No, I'm sure they will be. Thanks a lot.